A reading from Luke, chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister's left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." When I was a little boy, I was always in a rush, and my mother's always having to slow me down to make sure that I finished my food or washed my hands or cleaned my teeth before whatever it was that I wanted to do. Her mantra was almost always the same: first things first. And there was always a correct order of things. You needed to eat before you went to play football, or wash your hands before you ate, or brush your teeth before you go to bed. At the time, all these things seemed rather unnecessary when there were so many exciting things to do. But as is nearly always the case, mothers are right. You need to eat to get energy, you need to wash your hands to avoid germs, and you need to clean your teeth to make sure that you still had them when you grew up. And so first things first. This year is the 150th year of the Mothers' Union, and every diocese has been given a challenge. And that is to increase the Mothers' Union membership by 150 new members. Like growing the church, this is a huge challenge. And already I have heard of voices raised in consternation. How can we do it? Branches have been closing. Current members are getting older. Young people don't want to join. People don't believe anymore. How on earth, they ask, can we do it? Well, on earth you can't, but in heaven you can. The Bible has a simple answer, and that is the same as my mother's: first things first. And this is illustrated in our gospel reading about Martha and Mary. Martha is typical of the people of the Middle East, where hospitality to guests was and is an important responsibility. And we see this underlined, for example, in Hebrews chapter 13, where we're told, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." So Martha is giving her all to get things right for Jesus. Now at some point, Mary, who had been helping her, disappears. Flustered, Martha goes out from the kitchen to see what has happened and finds her sister sitting at the feet of Jesus and listening to him explain something or other. And this is too much for her. There's so much to do to get things ready, and she can't do it all on her own. And so she blurts out and says the unthinkable, "Lord, do you not care for my sister? For she has left me to serve alone. Tell her then to help me." And these words are worth thinking about because they are words of frustration, the sort of words that you or I or anyone else may find ourselves saying or thinking when we're at the end of our tether. When we've worked hard and nothing seems to be happening. When all our best plans don't seem to work. Where events we've planned are poorly attended. I remember in the decade of evangelism in the 1990s, where the church was encouraged to engage in all kinds of evangelism and special events in an effort to grow the church. Back to Earth Church Sunday, missions, invitation events, Bible studies, special courses. And yet, the church continued its decline at the end, and nothing happened to halt the downward trend. And the response was naturally frustration and disillusionment. "Lord, don't you care that we're doing all this hard work and nothing seems to work?" But Jesus' response is an important one. And it's this: first things first. "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her." Now, the good portion is a reference to something is better than something else. It is the best choice or the best decision or the best thing. It is choosing something permanent over something temporary. Something permanent which will not be taken away. Now, that's not to say hospitality is not an important thing, or that Jesus doesn't appreciate all Martha's hard work. It's just that sometimes good is the enemy of the best. And Jesus is saying to Martha and to us, look, yes, that's good, but first things first. And we see this elsewhere in the New Testament, when Jesus says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. First things first. Being with God before doing things for God. Jesus puts it like this. He talks about the importance of branches remaining attached to the vine in order to bear much fruit. Abide in me, he said, and I in you. For as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Mary had chosen the good portion. You see, if we're to see the church or Mother's Union grow, we must put the first things first. Prayer before action. Time sitting at the feet of Jesus before the demands of a busy day. And every revival has to be birthed in prayer, because prayer is first. And every story of growth in the church, in the history of the church, started when people put first things first and called out on God. The principle is as old as the Old Testament itself, where the Psalms tell us that unless the Lord builds the house, those who labour in vain. So my advice as the new chaplain to the Mothers Union, to you and to every branch of the Mothers Union for the coming year, is to make prayer a priority. Ask God to build your branch. Before you do anything, sit at the feet of Jesus first and talk and listen to him. What does he want you to do? What is his will? What are his ideas? I'm not saying that people do nothing or stop working, but just to put first things first. Do things God's way and you'll be amazed what God will do. Don't be like Martha and become anxious and troubled by this call to grow your branch, but be like Mary, who spent her time at the Lord's feet, choosing the good portion which Jesus promised would never be taken away from her.